Let's keep on going. So The Grapes of Wrath is it's one of the greatest American pieces of literature, and it talks specifically about this event, the government controlling supply to help farmers. They can do one or the other. They can keep food prices low so that he can afford to eat, or they can jack food prices up by destroying food to protect the farmers. The government decides they're going to help the farmers, and we see this all throughout history. The government has to make choices of who they're going to help. They're going to help the poor, they're going to help the rich, they're going to help the farmers, they're going to help the teachers, they're going to help the workers, they're going to help the bosses. We have people that are in conflict. We have people that are working against each other. And if the government gets involved, they're going to pick one or the other. The best situation from the classical liberal, from the libertarian, is maybe the government shouldn't pick winners and losers. Maybe the government should stand back and let the two parties work it out. But since the New Deal and into our current time, the government has a very large role in the economy. And if they get involved, then they're going to pick. And in this case, they pick the farmers. They're going to help the rich and greedy farmers. And you can see this picture of them basically killing livestock. There's too much livestock, too many cows, there's too many pigs. So guess what we do? They literally, I'm saying literally a lot, but I want to get this point across. They kill the pigs and they throw them in a ditch, cover them in lime, and bury it. That's food that people could have eaten, but they're trying to control the supply, because if the supply of hogs or pigs or pork is too high, the price goes down. Farmers can't make any money, but hey, he gets to eat. So what the government decides to do is, hey, well, let's just kill it all, and so we'll lower the supply, that jack the prices up, that's good for the farmers. But this kid starves, and this is a picture of them throwing food in a ditch, perfectly good food that people could have eaten. And this is talked about in The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. And we'll pick a specific passage of it. And they stand still and watch the potatoes float by. The government has taken potatoes and just dumped them in a river. Listen to the screaming pigs being killed in a ditch and covered with quick lime. They just kill the pigs, throw them in a ditch. That's perfectly good food. Watch the mountains of oranges slop down to a putrefying use. Oranges that starving kids could have eaten, but the government is destroying it to control the supply to help out specific farmers while other farmers struggle. And in the eyes of the people, there is a failure. And in the eyes of the hungry, there is a growing wrath. In the souls of the people, the grapes of wrath are filling and growing heavy for the vintage. So what is he saying here at the end? Let's translate. In the souls of the people, the grapes of wrath are filling and growing heavy for the vintage. So the oppressed, the people that are the losers. The government's picking the winners, and they're the losers. The people that the government's not helping out. The government that the people are getting cheated by. The government is cheating certain people. They are the oppressed, and they are ripening, just like a fruit is ripening and filling. And they're starting to understand what's really going on. They're starting to understand that they are being oppressed, and that the government is picking winners, and the government's picking losers. The government's controlling the supply of food to help out the winners, while everyone else suffers. They're finding out that, hey, there's some greedy farmers that are benefiting it. There are some people that are being protected and being chosen by the government, and while others are being chosen to lose. And this is not just some unlucky event where the economy crashed or there was a drought. They are realizing, they are ripening to the idea that this wasn't luck. This wasn't an unfortunate event. The government and certain people are playing an active role in picking winners and picking losers, and the people are angry. And the souls of the people, the grapes of wrath, are filling and growing heavy for the vintage. So this comes from two famous passages. Revelations, which is your Bible, talks about end times. So the angel swung his sickle to the earth and gathered the clusters from the vine of the earth and threw them into the great winepress of the wrath of God. So basically, God is killing people, but we use symbolism. It says like God's killing a bunch of people. He's smashing grapes, and that's symbolic of God killing all the people that are doing wrong. The wrath, the anger of God. And this is what the people are feeling during this time. This is what they want. The battle hymn of the Republic also echoes this same sentiment in 1861. Civil War time. My eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He's trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. So again, God is angry, and he's trampling out the grapes of wrath. He's trampling out the vintage. What does vintage mean? Vintage is basically the season's yield of grapes. So all the grapes of that year, God's smashing them. And that's symbolic of God smashing the people who are doing wrong. He's getting his revenge. He's getting his anger. God will smash, get revenge, get justice by smashing his enemies, like smashing grapes. And this is what the grapes of wrath, this is what Steinbeck is saying. This is the people that are struggling, the people that are oppressed. They're noticing that the government is betraying them. The government and the select people that the government has chosen, whether it be rich businessmen or rich farmers or whoever it is, they are oppressing and holding the people back. And the people are angry and they're not going to take it anymore. Why grapes? Well, grapes make wine. Wine is the color of blood. That's the symbolism here, the smashing of the grapes and the red blood flowing. Steinbeck is saying that people are mad and they want revenge. Often people read this and like, oh man, those rich people are keeping them down. No, it's not the rich people. But we're told that because the AP and your history books are always telling you the government's the hero. They saved the U.S. with these New Deal programs. But if you really read the Grapes of Wrath and you look at that passage, you think about it, the government's the villain. The New Deal is not helping people. They are starving people. They're throwing food in the water. They're destroying oranges. They're killing pigs. It's right there in his book describing the New Deal and the Depression and what the government is doing to oppress people. This idea that the government is the hero is absolutely insane. But that's going to be the answer on AP history, that the New Deal program saved people. But the reality, the history of one of the greatest pieces of American literature, it details in the most famous passage, the government destroying food and the people being angry and the people ripening and wisening and realizing the government is doing this. The government is holding us back. The government is creating this division. And that division is also holding us down. Whew.